Hello everyone and welcome! So far, the Piltover and Zone stories have not been kind. A lot of blood and gore spilling around, and today will be no different. Since Warwick's lore will expand on what we have already talked about, I advise you to watch the Singed video for more detail. So without further ado, let's talk about the one known as the Howler. Though many think of Warwick as no more than a beast, buried beneath the fury lies the mind of a man. A gangster who decided to put down his blade and take a new name to live a better life. But no matter how hard he tried to move on, his sins always caught up to him. Memories of that time occasionally flashed before Warwick's eyes before they were lost again, replaced by the echoes of the days spent strapped to a table in Singed's lab, with the mad chemist's face staring at him. Through all the pain he endured, he could not recall how he fell into Singed's grasp. He couldn't even remember the times before that suffering. All he saw were blades and saws cutting into his flesh and bones, as the alchemist seeked his goal, transmutation. Singed was able to reveal the true nature of his subject, the deadly beast hidden within a good man. With the help of chemicals pumping into Warwick's veins, Singed was able to painfully reshape the man. He even lost his arm during one of the experiments, but Singed was able to reattach it and augment it with powerful pneumatic claws. A chemical chamber was installed on Warwick's back and connected to his nervous system. Whenever he felt rage, hate or fear, it would drive liquid fury deeper into his veins, fully awakening the beast within. He was forced to endure it all, for Singed assumed that pain was the great catalyst of his transformation. As Warwick's body endured, his mind shattered by the unending agony. Warwick struggled to recall a single memory from his past. All he could see was blood. But then, he heard a little girl screaming something he couldn't understand. It sounded like a name. He'd already forgotten his, and he sensed it was for the best. Soon, pain overwhelmed his thoughts, and blood was the only thing left. Though his body and mind were broken after weeks of experimenting, he stubbornly resisted the chemicals transmuting him. Toxins leaked from his eyes instead of tears. He coughed up slime hiding deep inside his chest, which would burn holes into the floor. It didn't take long, and his body finally gave out. With the death of his subject, Singed dumped the corpse into a pit deep in Zone's sump, before returning his mind to the next experiment. But death proved to be the true catalyst of Warwick's transformation. As he lay cold atop the pile of corpses, the chamber on his back began to pump. His body reshaped once again. Bones bending and snapping, teeth growing, flesh tearing and healing, replaced by something new and powerful. By the time his heart started to beat again, the man Warwick once had been was gone. He awoke to hunger. Everything hurt. Only one thing mattered. He needed blood. First it was the blood of a nearby sum scrapper, and then a priestess of the glorious evolved seeking a member of her flock. Then a Piltover apprentice taking a shortcut, and a filter-faced merchant avoiding a gang, and a Durham dealer, and a tallyman, and a champunk. He set up a den not far from the place which haunted his now animal mind. There he continued the slaughter, not caring who fell under his claws. The hunger in his gut overwhelmed any concern for his random victims. And yet, even as he surrendered to the beast, glimpses of his past flashed before him. He saw a bearded man reflected in the eyes of a beggar as he tore out his throat. The other man looked somber, somehow familiar. There were scars on his arms. Sometimes as he feasted on gangers in dark alleys, the flash of knives reminded him of an old blade covered in blood. Blood passing from the blade to his hands, and from the hands to everything he touched. Sometimes he remembered the girl again, and still there was blood. It was there his entire life, and nothing could wash it off. He'd left so many scars that even if he didn't remember his past, the city would. When he peered into the eyes of Zone's criminals, the gang bosses, murderers and thieves, he saw himself. The chamber on his back filled with hate, and he hunted. Realizing the similarities with his victims, Warwick now hunts those covered in the stench of blood. A later story brings us onto the rooftops of Zone's streets. Here Warwick was ready to begin the hunt. He finally found the girl he was looking for near the Black Lanes, where merchants and thieves do business. Warwick could smell their crimes, all of them covered in the smell of blood. He saw the girl taking a message from one of Baron Spindlow's men and placing it into a pneumatube. The man muttered instructions to her. Warwick knew the man. Last time they met he took his leg. Cogs clinked as they passed from the man to the girl as a payment. Warwick could smell the blood from these too, the pain that passed with them from person to person. Warwick knew that cogs were not the real currency of Zone. It was pain. He growled and the two figures flinched in surprise. The girl took one look and ran away, but not deeper into the alley. She was a pneumatube runner. She could take routes only a few could follow. Afraid, fast, but vulnerable. Carrying a pneumatube with a Cambaran seal, she was an easy target for nearby gangs. Warwick began the hunt. They moved quickly, his claws cutting through smoke as he leapt across rooftops following the girl. His claws carved a path so deep it seemed like the city bled chemicals. The girl was taking every possible shortcut in the city, proving she knew Zone as well as Warwick. But she knew where he was driving her, away from the sanctuary, into a place all runners fear, where only the Zone Grey could escape. Warwick landed in front of her. A raging howl forced the girl to turn around. She tried to climb up a pipe, but without success. Warwick could hear her pray to the wind goddess. She was an easy target now. One leap could end it all. He even forgot why he should spare her. But as he walked closer, the reflection in her eyes reminded him. She looked behind her into the darkness, her eyes full of tears. It was all so familiar to Warwick. He pulled back and howled from the darkness, driving the girl forward. She dropped down into a maze of pipes built for the ancient pneuma system. Warwick followed her. The girl thought Warwick was after her, but she was just a bait. "Well, well, look who fell out of the grey," said a ganger emerging from the shadows. He and his friends surrounded the girls with blades ready. Their tethered clothes revealed them to be the Grey Nails gang. Among them, another girl appeared, her face ringed by piercings. "I know you," she said. "You run for Boggin, eh? One of Spindlow's mugs. What's that growing psycho gotta say that he don't want us to hear?" she said as she poked the tube with her knife and smiled. "Please, you don't understand." The girl sobbed, scanning the darkness behind her and trying to rush past. "Neither do you," the first ganger said. "We're gonna have some fun." Warwick hesitated and the thug knocked the tube out of the girl's hands. The Baron's seal cracked as it dropped onto the floor. A quick realization struck Warwick. The girl was in danger because of him. The girl cried out, there was a struggle and a quick flash of steel. Then there was blood. Its scent enraged Warwick. The chamber on his back pumped and he was lost. A roar filled the darkness. "It's him, the Howler!" a Grey Nail shouted. Warwick leapt forward, focusing on the shouting one. One slash covered the walls with red mist. He tried to look for the girl, but he was lost in the storm of clashing blades and biting teeth. Bones and armor cracked all around. He tasted blood, but there was still more. Then he saw the girl. One of the nails hovered above her, his dagger raised. Warwick was ready to stop him, but the machine pumped again and his body surged with power. Red haze filled his mind and everything was a blur. Everything was forgotten. Everything was blood. Warwick doesn't know if he saved the girl, or if he killed her. He kept biting through flesh as the surviving nails fled into the darkness. And he after them. He has no choice. They are the monsters he hunts, and he is one of them. And that's it for Warwick's lore. As it is with most of the stories these days, there are windows open for potential future stories. Now we know that Warwick was originally a thief from Zaun, and the girl from his memories could potentially be his daughter. But that is just a theory, nothing confirmed about that. But if it is true, that means that Singed is currently after his daughter, as her name was the last thing Warwick said. And that, to me, sounds like a really cool story twist. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can always leave a like below, together with any and all of your feedback. For bonus pictures of Eddie the cat, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook and Discord. And as always, thank you, come again.